like the most famous wine. It's from Dornish. It's from the south.
It's wait a second.
During Game of Thrones, you know, it's like the most famous wine. It's from. You recorded that?
No, it's we are now officially live on YouTube.
Okay.
I didn't send anybody the link, but YouTube has like it's about 20-second delay, 20 seconds
Okay.
delay of the from Facebook.
Got you.
So I will put.
Merlot. So it went well with Pedro last week.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. It was a nice tasting. Yeah. Whoop.
You tried some Porto?
No, we didn't do ports. No, because those guys, they have so much different wines. Let me check. So people can go online now.
Okay.
So they're slowly dripping in. I hope.
So how much did you charge for the tasting package?
It's like so. I think there are already people online watching now, but they paid like €20 for six or seven little balls. Yeah.
That's a good deal.
Yeah. So before with Pedro, it was only 6. So it's a fair deal you have.
Yeah.
Fair deal.
And it's per tasting or for the whole. Okay.
Per tasting and. So I'm bottling my own wine now, but you guys paid it, but I'm bottling it. So let me check how many people are online already. Oh yeah. So people that are already watching, I will do the short introduction in Dutch within like 5 minutes. So make yourself comfortable. Be sure you have one of this. If you didn't put the white wines cold, you have now like 10 minutes to get them in the fridge, or the freezer. Top. Zo, lieve mensen, het begint al een beetje vol te lopen. Wachten we nog even 5 minuutjes ongeveer. 3, 4, 5 minuutjes en dan gaan we langzaam van start. Dus zorg er nogmaals voor, heb je je witte wijn nog niet koud staan? Gooi heel snel die kleine flesjes in de vriezer en misschien zijn ze dan op tijd een beetje koud. En de rosé ook, niet onbelangrijk. Niet onbelangrijk. En dan gaan we zo starten. Oh. Sapredosia, sapre je, gladio. Ja, mensen, ik heb Thibault net de link gestuurd van YouTube. Dus Thibault kan nu meekijken. Ja, hij kan die vragen wel lezen, maar het is allemaal Nederlands. Dus hij snapt er waarschijnlijk helemaal niks van. Maar dan kan hij toch even zien hoe dat gaat. Hè. Dat is toch wel leuk. Only good things about you, Thibault. Only good things.
I know.
Let me check.
So you saw me connecting to the YouTube page.
Yeah. So and the problem is it will stay online. So you can use Google Translate Dutch to French to see what people ask. If it's a bit
No.
normal, if it's a bit normal.
I will let you do that.
Yeah,
I will let you do the translation.
I will definitely be. So, all the wines. So Thibault, you have full bottles?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
it's Friday night. It's Friday night.
When it comes to a tasting, I never drink.
No. Finally, you can just go. You can be yourself.
Yeah.
I hope that will work out for me as well.
It will.
And otherwise, I will send you like small bottles next time to France.
Please, yeah. Don't forget to fill them up before.
Yeah. I will. Let me check how many. Ja, nou mensen, we zijn 8 minuten verder. Dus volgens mij moeten de meeste mensen ingelogd zijn. Ik weet dat er een aantal mensen met een groep zitten te kijken. Dus ik denk dat ik de meeste mensen wel heb. En zo niet, nou ja, dan niet. Dan zie je het later maar weer. Komt vast wel goed. Welkom iedereen bij de 3e editie alweer van een online wijnproeverij. Dus een online wijntasting van de WijnHAll. Voor de mensen die niet eerder meegedaan hebben aan een tasting. Normaliter geven wij hier 2 keer per jaar een heel grote wijnfestijn. Nou, dit jaar ging dat niet door, want corona. Dus wordt lastig om dan gezellig bij elkaar wijn te drinken. En om wijnboeren uit land van herkomst in Nederland te krijgen. Dus oplossing online wijnproeverijen. Nou, dus daar zijn jullie nu deel van. Ik zal kort even uitleggen van hoe we dat deze keer gaan doen. Als het goed is, hebben jullie allemaal of deze kleine flesjes die ik handmatig gebotteld heb voor jullie. Of eventueel grote flessen. Kan allebei, maar ik weet dat een aantal grote pakketten zijn verkocht en een aantal kleine pakketten. Die hebben jullie als het goed is allemaal gehad. En hopelijk nogmaals de witte en de rosé koud gezet. Want het weer vraagt wel om wat gekoelde wijn. Zelfs de rode wijn, ietsje koel, kan er geen kwaad. Wat we gaan doen is het volgende. Ik ga even een kort stukje uitleggen van het wijnhuis. Dan krijgt Thibault het woord en dan gaan we één voor één die wijnen gewoon een beetje doornemen. Vragen kunnen allemaal lekker in de chat gesteld worden. Dus via de zijkant van de chat, ik vind het leuk, vul die chat. Vragen, opmerkingen, weet ik het wat, gooi het erin. Vragen zijn nooit dom, maar soms leuk, dus gooi het in de groep. Verder een kleine le petit, kleine huishoudelijke mededeling. Die flesjes zijn nogal een beetje, ja, ze zitten tot de nok toe vol. Dat heb ik niet gedaan om jullie te pesten, maar dat doe ik om ervoor te zorgen dat die wijn zo min mogelijk kans heeft om eventueel te oxideren. Want we schenken over van een grote fles naar kleine flesjes. En dan is het wel de bedoeling dat die wijn zo goed mogelijk blijft. Dus die is vrij vol. Zorg er dus voor als je uitschenkt dat je een doekie of iets hebt. Dus ga niet boven je net nieuwe mooie witte bank die zware rode wijnen uitschenken. Dus ja, sorry daarvoor, kleine huishoudelijke mededeling. Ik heb het in ieder geval eventjes gemeld. Zorg ervoor dat je de flesjes hebt. We gaan vandaag de wijnen behandelen van Deux Ruisseaux en Château Le Tout. And I will give the word in a few seconds to Thibault. So Thibault, I gave everybody a very warm welcome. I gave them a little a heads up about how to use the bottles. Very important, crucial information. So I didn't really make an introduction about the winery. So we know each other for
about,
I think
3-4 years, something like that.
Something like that. Yes. The first time I was at the winery where you were working, you weren't there, but I bought some wines and I brought them with me to the Netherlands. And I thought, all right, these are really good wines. So let's see if I can get them here to the Netherlands. And that's how we contact. And then if Corona didn't exist this year, I think we should have, or we would see each other like 3 times in the beginning of the year. So at the
during Pro Wine, the wine fair during Pro Wine in Düsseldorf.
Yes.
The WijnHALL tasting.
Yes.
In May.
And
in November.
My holiday.
My and your holiday
in the south of France. Yeah. So no holiday for me.
No.
At least not with you guys. So this is also for me like as good as it gets. So let's hope to give a little bit of a holiday feeling.
The weather is good.
The weather is good over there. I heard you saying so we have the weather with us and we have the wines cold. So can you tell us a little bit more about who you are and why you love wine? So a little short introduction.
Short introduction of myself. So to start off, welcome to everybody. Thank you, Remmer, for hosting this online tasting. I think it's a very, very smart idea. I am Thibault. I have been working for Famille Valerie for 3 years now as an export manager, and I started working into the wine business when I was maybe 20 years old. I started working as a sommelier in London in a restaurant. That's how I actually started working with the wines. And when I went back to France, I went to school to learn about marketing and sales of the wine. So that's how I got into wine. It's quite funny because I learned most of the things about wine when I was working in London. I did the WSET, the Wine and Spirit Education Trust, up to level 3, and then when I went back to France, as I said, I went to school for marketing and sales on wines. So that's a little background for me for the wine. I started working first in a estate called Clos-Orient, also close to Montpellier, and Famille Valerie actually was making our white wine for us because we didn't have any white grapes. So that's how I started to know Famille Valerie.
It's pretty important, right? To have white grapes for white wine.
But you can make white wines with red grapes.
You can. If people question about that, just put them in the chat.
And and 3 years ago, I started working for Famille Valerie, and that's how I got to know Remmer, and that's why I'm here tonight.
Yeah.
So if you want now, I can make a short introduction of Famille Valerie.
Yeah, please.
So Famille Valerie started the winemaking in the 1950s. They bought some land and they started planted vineyards over there. And they started with the estate of Domaine des Deux Ruisseaux. Later on, they bought the estate of Château Le Tout, which produce AOP Languedoc wine. Domaine des Deux Ruisseaux only produces AGP Pays d'Oc wine and for the most part, it's single varietal wine, such as Sauvignon Blanc, Viognier, Chardonnay, etc. So Famille Valéry has been making wines for over more than 70 years now, and it is actually the third generation that runs the estate now. We started last year to do organic farming. It takes about 3 years to change the vineyard to organic.
Yeah.
And so we are now the second year. For the most part of the Deux Ruisseaux estate, it's mostly clay and limestone for the soil. The vineyard, it's quite young, and we change it every 15-20 years because we need to have a young vineyard to produce and to match the yield that we need to produce all the bottles. While Château Le Tout estate, it will be much more older vineyard, about 40 to 50 years old, because it's a very small production, and we need to have older vineyard to produce much more concentrated grapes, strong grapes, to make full-bodied red wines.
And your the winery, because what people maybe don't know, some people maybe know the region and maybe been there on holiday, because it's the place where you're situated is Savian, and it's like how many kilometers it is from the sea. So because it's very close.
It's sorry, right? I completely forgot to mention the area. It's in the south of France, in Languedoc part of France. And actually, the village where we are, Sauvian, as you said, it's a few kilometers away from the sea. It's like 10 minutes drive. I've got a little map here, so you can see the Mediterranean Sea, and we are here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see my finger moving.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Right here, close to the city of Béziers. And it's quite important for us to have this the sea close by, because as you know, in the south it's very hot, and the sea will bring a nice breeze which will cool down the vineyard, and it will help the grapes to grow slowly and mature slowly to reach perfect maturity.
Yeah. Because it keeps the wine much fresher if the winery is close to the sea. Because
to the sea, yeah.
I think it's from maybe I know we went on holiday a few times in Serrières-Plage. So the winery, for some people that maybe want to locate the wine, it's between Serrières-Plage and Béziers. It's on the route to Béziers, right? It's from
yes, route de Béziers.
So it's a very Mediterranean climate, but close to the sea. So if you're going on a holiday in the south of France, close to the sea, maybe you're even close to Deux Ruisseaux.
Yeah.
And can you explain us a bit about the name Deux Ruisseaux for the people that don't know the French language?
Deux Ruisseaux, what do you mean? There's people who don't know French language? So Deux Ruisseaux, it means two streams of river, and the estate got its name because it was built in between two small streams, which are, one of them is now dried up because of construction and drought. But historically, the estate was in between two small streams. Okay. So we got the name from there. Yeah. And on the labels, you can see the labels. You have like two snake-looking shape.
Yeah.
It's the streams. It's a representation of the streams.
So Ruisseau doesn't mean snake.
No,
No,
it means it means a stream, little stream of water.
I told everybody 2 snakes, but so
2
that's
snakes.
no, good, good. So another question. Here in the Netherlands, it has been really warm spring and already a warm summer. And I think we broke almost every heat record the last 3, 4, maybe 5, 6 years. I can imagine that that will be the same in the south of France. And is there something you can cope about? How do you cope with the heat? Is there are there what's your opinion about the heat? Is it affecting you or not?
Yeah, we just like you guys, we suffered the heat, especially last year. Last summer it was really hot. We had the temperature reaching 45 degree or 50 degrees, so it was really hot. How do we cope with the heat in the with the vineyard? It's quite difficult because you cannot water the vineyard. It's completely forbidden. So you cannot give water to the vineyard, to the vine.
My son could water the vineyard, but he used
Yeah.
a different.
It's okay. I forgive him. But the thing is, we have to work at night because during the day you cannot be outside.
No.
So we have to change our way to work like this. We have to work at night. We have to do less treatment because sometimes when you do treatment and with the heat, you will burn the whole vineyard. I know some winemaker that didn't pay attention of the heat, and they did the treatment, and they got all the leaves completely burnt. So no grapes, nothing. Also, because of the heat, the grapes, they will mature earlier.
Yeah.
So we will need to harvest earlier also, especially for the whites and for the rosé, when you want something fresh, refreshing, and with quite a lot of acidity. You need to harvest much more earlier than we used to do. Before, we used to harvest in September, October. Now, for the whites, we will harvest maybe middle of August, early August, something like that. So it's like 1 month before. So it's a huge change for us.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's and I think especially because you are close to the sea, so you probably have more like freshness from the sea.
Yeah.
But if you're further north in the Languedoc, maybe your problems will be bigger to keep producing fresh
exactly
high wines.
Some winemaker they cut down grapes to reduce the yield in order to keep the quality.
Yeah.
And we have lost about 20% of our yeast due to the heat.
Yeah, really.
Because
20%.
Yeah, about 20%.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of bottle.
That's a lot of bottle. We will not drink that much bottle.
No.
No. So good. I hope everybody has like a small introduction about the winery. If they are missing something out or they're thinking, but how does this work or how does that work? Give us a heads up in the chat.
Yeah.
So Thibault, I will give them a short, a very short, really short update and course of how to taste wine in Dutch. Okay. And then we come back to you and then we're going to taste the wines. Finally.
Finally, something interesting.
Dus mensen, ik hoop dat de informatie een beetje voldoende was voor jullie om in ieder geval een beetje een idee te hebben van hoe die wijngaarden erbij liggen en wat daar gemaakt wordt. Ik kan het niet vaak genoeg zeggen. Vragen, altijd even melden. We gaan zo wijn proeven. Als het goed is hebben jullie al die glaasjes en gaan jullie heel voorzichtig uitschenken. Kort, ik weet dat we een heel gemêleerd publiek hebben die meedoen aan dergelijke tastings. Dus mensen die volleerd zijn in de kunst van het wijndrinken. Mensen die dat iets minder zijn. Mag allebei, kan allebei en het is allebei leuk. Hè? En elke degradatie van heel goed wijn drinken naar gewoon lekker makkelijk wijn drinken is ook wel eens leuk. Maar om meer over wijn te weten, zijn er een paar stappen die je kan doorlopen om net even iets meer smaken tot je te nemen. Nou ja, allereerst, de eerste stap van als je wijn wil drinken is kijken naar de kleur. We gaan hier nu niet uren kijken naar de kleur van die witte wijn. We zien dat het witte wijn is, maar kleur is belangrijk. Dit zijn wijnen die jong gemaakt worden, dus een relatief lichte kleur. Kleur heeft te maken met leeftijd en wellicht ook druivenras. Dan is het belangrijk om te ruiken. De geur is het beste als je walst. En walsen is ja, dit. Hè? Dus het gaat erom dat je je glas een beetje draait. Dat er beweging komt in je glas. Hoe je dat doet, I don't care. Zorg ervoor dat er beweging in je glas komt en dat de wijn in je glas blijft. Dat is echt maar het belangrijkste. En als je dan ruik je altijd veel meer dan dat je dat niet gedaan hebt. Dus dat walsen is altijd wel erg belangrijk. Dan heb je drinken. Neem een slok. Nou, drinken kunnen we allemaal. Hè. Als je uitspuugt, hoeft niet, maar het mag wel. Als je uitspuugt, proef je meer dan dat je doorslikt. Dus ja, kijk uit wie er naast je zit. En doe dat ook met beleid. Maar als je uitspuugt, proef je meer dan dat je doorslikt. En als je proeft, heb je ook weer een paar etappes waar we doorheen gaan. En dat is één, de aanzet. Dat is wat proef je direct. Dan de smaakontwikkeling. Als het goed is je mond wat warmer dan wat er hier in het glas zit. Althans, dat hoop ik voor je. Dus die wijn gaat opwarmen en er komen smaken vrij. Dan mag je bij wijn ook slurpen. En dan doe je zeg maar dit, maar dan in de mondholte en dan de neusholte komen er dan weer extra geuren vrij. Want proeven is ruiken en die smaakpillen in de mond tegelijkertijd. En dan heb je de afdronk. En de afdronk is, heb je nog lang een smaak. Kan ook een gevoel zijn. Dus worden die speekselklieren helemaal aangesproken. Heb je een beetje vettig gevoel in de mond. Allemaal onderdeel van de afdronk. En als dat langer is dan 10 seconden, dan is het relatief lang. Is dat direct weg, dan is dat relatief kort. Dus dat is onderdeel van de afdronk. Mochten er vragen zijn over het proeven van wijn of dingen die je ziet. Van ik zeg, joh, hoe komen precies die traanvorming of weet ik het wat. Gooi het in de chat en dan beantwoord ik dat graag even tussen de bedrijven door. So Thibault,
Yes.
I give them a really small, short course in how to taste wine. So I hope everybody. I know that everybody can taste wine. That's not the problem. But how to maybe get to know the wine a little bit more due to different techniques. So we start with bottle number 1. And on my bottle, the number 1 is Sauvignon.
Sauvignon Blanc. Yeah.
Sauvignon Blanc. So I will pour the Sauvignon Blanc in my glass. So everybody just, the magic moment is about to happen. Just pour the wine in the glass. And Thibault, can you tell me a little bit more maybe about the grape variety and how you make this wine and maybe a food pairing or stuff like that? Just can you give us some information about it?
Sure. Sauvignon Blanc is a grape varietal that is usually grown in the Loire Valley to make the prestigious wine from Sancerre. But it's been maybe 15, 20 years that the Sauvignon Blanc was implanted in the Languedoc region as part of a AGP Pays d'Oc wines. Usually the Sauvignon Blanc, it's a grape varietal that produce dry white wine. You will have quite a lot of herbaceous flavor, but also it's also a very fruity wine. The Sauvignon Blanc from Deux Ruisseaux will have nice notes of tropical fruit on the nose. When you smell it, I can see pineapple. I can smell a bit of mango. It's very nice on the nose. And if when you taste it, when you drink it on the palate, it will be very dry, very fresh, and quite refreshing. And you will also find those same aromas that you had on the nose. You will find them on the palate too, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also a little bit of greenish, herby. It has a little
Yeah,
bit of
herby. I
fleshy.
say herbaceous, but yes,
Yeah,
greeny, herby.
yeah, yeah.
Completely this this aromas from Sauvignon Blanc, it's typical from
yeah,
Sauvignon Blanc,
yeah,
the greeny herbaceous thing, and that's why it's so dry on the palate.
yeah, because
And
you really feel it like in the back of your mouth.
yeah,
It's like really dry,
really, yeah.
and
So
fresh, high acidity.
exactly, high acidity. It's also a typicity of the grape to have high acidity. But as I mentioned before, we harvest a bit earlier than usual to keep more acidity.
Yeah,
The winemaking process is usually direct pressing, meaning that when we harvest, we put all the grapes into the press and we press it to extract the juice, and then we put the juice in the big vat and we start the fermentation,
yeah,
the alcoholic fermentation, sorry, that will last for maybe three weeks up to 1 month. And we stop the malolactic fermentation. Malolactic fermentation is another kind of fermentation that happens into the wine, and we stop it for the white because it reduces the acidity.
yeah. Of course.
And for whites and for rosé, you want to have quite a lot of acidity.
And so no skin contact. It's just direct pressing. The grapes come in, and it's
You
direct pressing.
you will have a little bit of skin contact during the pressing, and usually it's something that lasts for 1 or 2 hours.
Yeah, just short
Just short,
respiration.
because uh, the skin is very dry, astringent, so you don't want
No,
to have the dryness too much. So you just do a skin contact for a couple of hours
yeah,
to get the nice dryness. That's it.
yeah. And
So
then the
yeah,
fermentation is in concrete or in
stainless steel.
Stainless steel, right?
For,
Yeah.
for the white and rosé, stainless steel vat
Yeah.
are the best to produce white wine and rosé wine, because concrete can affect a little bit the taste of the wine, while the stainless steel vat are tasteless.
Yeah.
Concrete, the inside of a concrete vat can have some asperities, you know.
Yeah.
It's not plain like that, and that you will have some leftover from the previous vintage
Yeah.
that will give the wine its style, if you want.
I
So
think
that's why
yeah.
we
I think concrete is part of the terroir. Right? If
yes,
you use concrete, it's part of terroir because you have the small holes and different kinds of stones used in the concrete, so it's part of the terroir. The concrete.
exactly, yeah.
I will give an update on because there was some terroir, the malolactic fermentation. I will give like a Dutch explanation later on for people that are thinking now,
Okay.
like, malolactic fermentation.
Yeah, what?
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 What? It's
I thought we were gonna drink wine.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and just to finish on the Sauvignon Blanc, this is a wine that's very, very interesting to taste. I mean, to drink by itself as an appetizer.
Yeah.
It's fresh. You know, you outside on the balcony or in the garden drinking this, or if you want to have some food with it, this is the type of wine that I would have with seafood. You want oysters, you want mussel, you want fish, anything that comes out the
Yeah.
sea, you welcome it with a glass of Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah. Even if it's you that coming out of the sea.
Yeah, even if it's a nice girl with bikini coming out of the sea.
Yeah, Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc.
It's very important information. This very important information.
I know.
Yeah, good. So we will give people a small minute to finish the wine. I will do a small piece in Dutch about terroir and malolactic fermentation, and then we go on to the second wine.
Perfect.
Mensen, er zijn even 2 termen voorbij gekomen die wellicht wat toevoeging of in ieder geval wat additionele informatie vragen. Eén is de malolactische fermentatie. Thibault sprak over de malolactische fermentatie. En malolactische fermentatie is eigenlijk iets heel geks, want het is officieel geen fermentatie. Dus er zijn geen gistcellen die daar aan te pas komen. Het is een bacterie en de bacterie zet het wat appelzuur, dus dat frissere zuur, om in lactisch in melkzuur. En het wordt bij heel veel rode wijnen wordt dat gedaan, want die rode wijnen die wil je niet te fris hebben. Dus veel rode wijnen zijn van zichzelf eigenlijk vrij fris. Maar door die malolactische fermentatie wordt die wijn zachter en een beetje lactoseachtig en wordt die wat zuivelachtig en wat zachter. Dus dat is de basis van malolactische fermentatie. Als er een vraag over zijn, hoor ik ze verder graag. En dan de volgende term, de term terroir. Ik denk dat er geen enkel andere taal is, dus dat moet in het Frans, terroir. Terroir betekent eigenlijk alles over de herkomst van de wijn, behalve dan de wijnmaker en het druivenras. Dus het heeft te maken met de bodem waar die druivenstokken op staan, het microklimaat, de cultuur, historische tradities van wijnmaken. Het zijn allemaal onderdeel van het terroir. En vandaar bij Deux Ruisseaux gebruiken ze hele grote betonnen bakken. Echt een gigantische bassins zijn dat. Maar dat beton is gewoon open beton. Dus daar zitten gaatjes in, kiertjes, dingetjes. En er steken steentjes uit. En in mijn optiek is de ene betonnen bak is niet de andere betonnen bak. Want in die steentjes, in die gaatjes, in die gleufjes blijft dan alles nog wat zitten. En dat is onderdeel van het terroir. Dus dat beton geeft de smaak mee die in mijn optiek onderdeel is van het terroir. Nogmaals, als daar ook vragen over zijn, geef een geel, maar een korte update van wat is nou terroir. So Thibault, I give them a small explanation, and I also said that there isn't a language that can define the definition terroir in French. You know, there's not a Dutch, there's not an English definition.
You cannot translate it.
No, it's
you need to learn French to understand the meaning.
Yeah.
No, but as I did not understand what you were saying in Dutch, but I think I got it. But as you say, terroir is five things. It's the grape varietal, it's the soil, it's the weather, it's the tradition, and it's the work of men.
Yeah, it's the art of winemaking.
Terroir.
Yeah, terroir. It's all combined. And like I said, it's in my opinion also the grape variety. It's not especially the grape variety, but it's the grape variety in the place of the terroir. So
yes,
like with the Sauvignon, it's you can have the Sauvignon from New Zealand, and it will be a total different Sauvignon Blanc, or from the Loire Valley, or from the Languedoc. It's a grape variety in a place with the tradition, with the weather, with all the everything around it. Yeah, good. So I hope everybody finished the last or the first glass, so we can go on to the next bottle, and it is Viognier, number 2, Viognier.
Viognier, yeah.
A grape variety that is in Holland, doesn't have like a big fancy name like Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, but it's weird because it's a grape variety that is of course widely planted in places where we buy a lot of wines, and it's a grape variety, in my opinion, that has so much to offer, and so it has so much to offer. And every time I give this wine, I let people taste this wine, this Viognier. People say, "Wow, this is really good," and they have no idea about the Viognier grape variety.
Okay.
So again,
So
people give us an update about
yeah.
the wine, how it's made.
So Viognier from Deux Ruisseaux. This is actually the 2018 vintage. A little bit of history on the grape. Viognier is traditionally grown in the Rhône Valley, and they produce possibly the most expensive Viognier as part of the Condrieu appellation.
Condrieu.
Condrieu, it's like 200 euro a bottle or something like that. And also in the Rhône Valley, they are the only one, and Champagne also. For Côte Rôtie, the appellation Côte Rôtie, they can add a little bit of white wine, of Viognier wine, into their red wine.
Yeah.
Okay, so usually Viognier comes from this part of France, the Rhône Valley, and it was also introduced in the Languedoc 20 years ago. It's a grape varietal that is very fruity. If you smell it on the nose, you will have notes of peach, apricot, and also a lot of florality, white flowers, aroma.
It's very perfume. It has a lot of, it has a really wide perfume. If people have any flavors that I think that are smelling, happy to see them in the chat if you have any tastings, because wine is an expression of your flavor in terms of smelling and tasting, and the expression is always like it's very personal. So
yeah, it's completely different with each person,
yeah.
and I always say tasting a wine is an exercise for your memory, because when you smell something or you taste something, you will remember something. You will remember that I remember the pies my grandmother was cooking. You know what I mean? It's always a work of memory.
And sometimes you know, like the taste, when you smell something, you remember a place or an
a
object.
moment.
Yeah, but you don't know what that object is. You know, if it's the cabin, the closet of your old auntie, and you don't know what is it that I'm smelling. Is it the wood? Is it the perfume? Is it, you have no idea, and sometimes you have to dig into your memory to find out. All right, what is the smell that I'm now experiencing? You know, it's just due to an object or a moment or a situation.
Yeah, that you experienced before, and tasting wine is also a kind of a time travel, because you travel back into your memory, into that moment, into that place. Those flavor will make you remember those moments. Yeah. So I think we stray from the tasting. Let's focus on the wine.
the wine. Viognier.
Viognier. So yeah,
about
very fruity, also quite fresh. As I mentioned before, we harvest a bit early because white wine are nice when they have a bit of acidity. They feel better on the palate. And also the Viognier, it's much more round on the palate. You know, you don't have the dryness that you had with the Sauvignon Blanc. It's you have a kind of mouthful of the Viognier. It's very round, a bit creamy. That's because we do a very quick aging on lees. So the lees, for those who don't know, it's the result of the alcoholic fermentation. The alcoholic fermentation is a process of yeast eating sugar to turn it into alcohol. Doing so, the yeast, they will die and they will form what we call the lees at the bottom of the vat. And those lees, for white wine, it's quite interesting to keep them and to do the aging on lees, because that will give you this kind of creamy,
buttery texture, and also more depth to the wine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for the Viognier, we do an aging on lees of 2 or 3 months. It's quite fast because we don't want to have a heavy Viognier. And sometimes Viognier can be very, very heavy, very fruity, very sugary.
Yeah, it needs to be fresh as well.
It needs to be fresh. That's why we harvest it a bit earlier to keep the freshness.
Yeah, I really like this wine because it has so much. Again, it has so much to offer. It's fresh. It's the floral notes are really intense. So it's lively. You compare it very good with different food.
You can, as I always say, for the wines from the Deux Ruisseaux, they are enough by themselves.
Yeah.
You can just drink them by themselves, but Viognier, as you say, you can pair it with many things. Fish also, white meat like chicken, turkey, also dessert. If you want to have a tarte tatin with a glass of Viognier, I think can be quite good. You can do many different pairings with this Viognier, which it's a Swiss knife. You know, you can do many things with it.
Yeah. It will even pair pretty well with some Swiss cheeses as well. I think this wine because it's the floral notes. You know, it's the
yes,
it's
with
really
cheeses,
good bridge.
of course. Yeah.
Good. So if there are any questions about Viognier, just keep them coming. Viognier, like again, for me, it's not a typical grape variety in the Netherlands that you will find in a restaurant as an house wine. But it is a very interesting grape variety. So people try it, and if you really want to buy like the top of the bill Viognier, go to the Rhône Valley, and Condrieu is then and that are Viogniers that can age a bit. It's so for people, it's not as fresh as this Viognier, but
it's a completely different type of wine.
Yeah, it's a different profile and definitely something else. So now we go to the last white grape variety.
Yes.
And it's Chardonnay. The queen or the king of the white grapes. At least, I don't know what your opinion is about that, but I think it is. You have lovers and haters of
Chardonnay. There is two schools. You know, there is. I think that there is the school of Chardonnay and there is the school of Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah. I think
that's the two houses fighting each other.
Yeah.
You know, little reference to Game of Thrones for
Game
you.
of Thrones.
House Chardonnay now. So this is another single varietal from Domaine des Deux Ruisseaux, 100% Chardonnay. We do the same vinification process. We do the same harvesting process as the Sauvignon Blanc and the Viognier. They come from the same terroir, the same soil, and Chardonnay. So as you know, it's quite a fresh and fruity grape varietal on the nose. You have notes of apple, pear, things like that.
It's really fresh, and that's why I really like this Chardonnay, because it's so lively and fresh. And we are in the Netherlands. We're sometimes we have a lot of Chardonnay from Chile, with second fermentation.
With oak aging and things like that. And you have a very fatty Chardonnay. Very greasy, very fat, very opulent. And I don't like my Chardonnay like this. I prefer Chardonnay this way because, as you say, it's fresh, it's refreshing, and you have all the taste, all the aromas of the Chardonnay,
you know, but without the body. It's quite fresh, it's refreshing, it's easy to drink, it's very enjoyable.
It's a total different. I think a lot of people that will try this Chardonnay will be surprised how fresh Chardonnay can be, because it's a difficult tell. I often get this when I sell this wine or when I let people taste this wine in the shop.
So I didn't mention it because I thought everybody knew that, but Chardonnay is not a typical grape varietal from Languedoc. And I think most people know, but maybe not. Chardonnay is also the typical grape varietal for Burgundy white wine.
Yeah. I think we had a chat when we walked to the winery about Chardonnay, about like the history of Chardonnay that not a lot of people know, but Chardonnay has been formed due to the Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is kind of the unofficial daddy of the Chardonnay. And maybe that's why, because the unofficial dad of the Chardonnay is like a blue grape variety. It has so much roundness, softness, but also the freshness of the white grape. So,
definitely. So Chardonnay, if you want to drink the Chardonnay, it is very good by himself again. But this is the type of wine I will pour when I am tasting cheeses. You know, I think Chardonnay is really good for cheeses. It's also quite good if you do some fish with a creamy sauce. But also white meat such as chicken or turkey. Also, if you do a creamy sauce with like some mushroom, something like that. Some pasta, you know, some tagliatelle with you know what I mean.
Stop. I'm getting hungry.
You're getting hungry. You need to have a Chardonnay. It has some body, so you need to have some quite tasty food with it.
Yeah. I have a question in the chat about the fermentation. If it has any barrel fermentation, this Chardonnay.
No. There's no oak aging for this Chardonnay because we want to keep it light and refreshing. If you do oak aging, it will obviously give some oak flavor to the wine, and also it will add a lot of structure, and we don't want that with our Chardonnay. We want something light, something easy, something fresh, something that you finish work, you go home, and you just want to pop a bottle of wine and have a glass of wine to unwind, to chill after your day. Something that you will not have to think about it. You know, it's you pour, you smell, you drink.
And in my opinion, it has the fresh apple notes, and that'll keep this Chardonnay fresh and lively and vivid.
Yes, the acidity of the apple, kind of.
And that's something you will lose with barrel fermentation, or it will be much less if you use barrel fermentation.
Probably the oak will take over those aromas, those flavor from the Chardonnay.
Yeah.
And as you say, you will lose the flavor of the apple, of the pear, and it will be a heavy Chardonnay.
Yeah, and it will be too heavy.
We don't want that. We want, as I say, an easy drinking Chardonnay.
Yeah, good. I will answer a few questions. So people are enjoying this Chardonnay. I see in the chat, people are really liking this wine because it's so much fun. It's just such a good wine. It's fresh, it's lively, it's Chardonnay. And of course, I have people that say, yeah, I don't like Chardonnay, and then I say, try this wine, you will probably enjoy. Some people say no, it's still Chardonnay, But I definitely got some people that say, no, I'm not really a fan of Chardonnay. And if they're tasting this, they're getting back with a different opinion about the wine.
You need to do some blind testing with those people, because I have a lot of friends that are stuck on the idea that no, Chardonnay is like this, I don't like Chardonnay, and I do with my friends once a month blind tasting. So everybody brings a bottle. You don't know what's the wine, you try, and you try to guess the wine.
Yeah.
And I surprised a lot of my friends bringing Chardonnay to people that didn't like Chardonnay, because when they know they're drinking Chardonnay, they don't like it. But when they don't know, when they drink Chardonnay, they love it. Oh, wow. Oh, this is great. So, you need to do that. You need to trick people into tasting wines they know and they don't like.
Yeah.
Into a wine that they will like.
Yeah, and I think Chardonnay, again, I think there's not one white grape variety that people, that are so many haters and lovers as Chardonnay. I think that's one that's exceptional. Grape variety is exceptional with so much haters. But I think Chardonnay should definitely it will definitely deserve more credits as it gets right now, because it's Chardonnay is so versatile, and it has so many different faces and so many different flavors. So it's always worthwhile to try Chardonnay from different places.
Exactly, yeah. Chardonnay from France, Chardonnay from... I tried a Chardonnay from Bulgaria the other day. I was like, I did not even recognize the grape, I was like, what, this is Chardonnay? And it's crazy. I mean, as you say before, the terroir is the grape at one place. It will taste completely differently. My Chardonnay from the Languedoc, the Chardonnay from the Burgundy, Chardonnay from Bulgaria, sorry, from South Africa, from Argentina, or things like that. You will have completely different tastes.
Yeah, and then you have like the vinification techniques with second fermentation, barrel fermentation,
oak aging,
and you have different clones of Chardonnay. So which clone does a winemaker use to get the wine? No, interesting. Chardonnay.
Yeah, Chardonnay. Nay.
So if you, for the Game of Thrones fans, if you give this Chardonnay a Game of Thrones name, who will be? Is this Hodor, or is it?
Is it Jon Snow, or is it King Jeffrey?
King Jeffrey. I think it's a Jon Snow. It's a Jon Snow, right? It's not the last season, but Jon Snow until the end, until the last season.
Yeah.
So we get a little bit of our Game of Thrones fan. So these were the white wines.
Yes.
3 white wines, single grape variety. I think very handy for people to taste the 3 different grape varieties, because it gives a little bit of the basis of these 3 grapes.
Exactly. Yeah. That's actually one of the particularity of the Deux Ruisseaux wine, is that we work our wine in a way that when you taste it, when you smell it, it's Sauvignon Blanc, it's Chardonnay, it's Viognier. We try to just highlight the aromas, the natural aromas, and the typicity of each grape. We don't want to, that's why we don't do oak aging or barrel fermentation or anything like that. We just grow the grape, take it to the winery, you press it, you ferment it, and we just want
the natural flavor of each varietal to express themselves.
Yeah.
Without any gauging or anything. We want you guys to taste what a Sauvignon tastes like, what a Chardonnay tastes like, and what a juni tastes like.
Yeah, just pure, you know, the pure.
Exactly, just pure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. So if there are any questions, just give us a heads up and let us know. So the next wine is a wine that is typical for this weather.
Yeah. Finally.
Finally, it's the wine you have been waiting for. It's the wine you have been waiting for. It's rosé.
Tenerife.
La rosé. So here's not it's not a single grape variety.
No, that's the only one actually from the Deux Ruisseaux range that is not a single variety.
Yeah.
This one is a blend. La Rosée, it's a blend of Merlot and Grenache.
Yeah.
Okay, La Rosée, it's a play on with words, because La Rosée in France, it means the morning dew. The morning dew, we call it La Rosée, and we use that because the morning dew, when the sun rises and the first light hits the ground, this morning dew will have a pink color like this.
Yeah.
So La Rosée, 50-50 Merlot and Grenache. Merlot will give a bit of roundness and a lot of fruitness. Grenache will bring a lot of acidity into the blend, and also quite a lot of a touch of spices and fruitness. Mm. Mm. It will.
The color is the rosé that we like here in the Netherlands. It's like the salmon kind of very transparent color. It's fresh. It's and because you're using the grape varieties Grenache Noir and Merlot.
And Merlot, yes.
Yeah. And why no Shiraz? Because you also can use Shiraz.
Because Syrah, we prefer to use our Syrah for the red wines, and Syrah can be a bit heavy for rosé.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why we prefer to use Merlot, because Merlot will bring a bit of body and a lot of fruitness, and Grenache quite a lot of acidity and the freshness also. And Syrah tend to have a lot of color. So it's quite difficult, because nowadays everybody wants a very pale rosé. So if you add some Syrah, you might have a very colorful rosé.
Yeah.
So that's why we don't do Syrah rosé.
Yeah, and I think the Merlot gives it like it's a bit of a like a sweet sour candy kind of.
Exactly.
It has a lot of different type of candies in it. You know, it's
in France we call it like the British candy, sweet and sour. Yeah. Definitely, that's exactly the nose and the palate. It's this sweet and sour aromas and feeling. It's quite dry, it's quite fresh and very refreshing. That's the kind of wine you want to drink outside when the sun is high and hot. You can just drink it by itself again, but also it's the perfect wine for barbecue, for picnics. You are outside, you just start a nice fire and you grill some sausages, some meat, anything, or picnic or salad.
it has again like the same with the Sauvignon Blanc, the freshness at the back of the mouth. So it's very fresh. In my opinion, maybe people don't. When I was a kid, we used to have like the small round raspberry candy with a high acidity, freshness, like an appley kind of freshness, but also the red fruit of the raspberry, also maybe cranberry. So it's very fresh.
It's red berries, all the aromas that you will smell and that you will taste. Sorry. Yeah. It's about red berries, as you say, raspberry, a bit of strawberry. I can feel cranberry too, and a bit of florality in the back of the palate at the end. And I think that's kind of white flowers aroma that will bring a nice freshness at the end when you swallow the wine.
Yeah, it's really refreshing at the end, definitely. Floral, appley kind of freshness in the mouth.
Definitely, yeah.
I have a question here from, just a sec, about the production. Like, I think because in the Provence, some wineries like produce like 90% rosé, and they do some other wines as well. But it's a question: how many rosé do you produce, especially if you compare it to the Sauvignon Blanc or to the Chardonnay?
We do about 20 to 25,000 bottles of rosé every year.
Okay.
And Sauvignon Blanc, it's about 10 to 15,000. Yeah. So, and actually the demand for rosé is growing every year.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. And so we have to reduce our production of red wine and use the red grape to make rosé.
Yeah.
So to give you an idea, I've been working 3 years for the company now, and they have doubled their production of rosé in the space of 3 years.
Really?
Yeah. Because we sell so much rosé during summer, it's crazy.
Yeah. I can imagine, and it's not, but in the Netherlands, rosé it comes and it goes. You know, every year you don't know what opinion of rosé will be and how the volumes of rosé will develop through the year. So,
but you also have to take into account that rosé, I'm talking about France, is a very seasonal wine, meaning that the 25,000 bottles that we produce, we will sell them in the space of 3 months.
Yeah.
While the Sauvignon Blanc or the Chardonnay, we are going to sell a bit more during summer, but it's something that you sell during the whole year.
Yeah.
There is no season with that.
No, and I can imagine, because you supply this rosé also to the domestic market in your region, because 25,000 bottles for some people seemed like a really big volume and a pretty amount of wine, but it's compared to other wineries, and it's not that much. If you need to supply the domestic market and the export. Yeah, I think a lot of it's rosé that I think a lot of people really like. It's in my opinion, it's what I want from a rosé from the south of France. It's fresh, lively, it's
fruity, easy to drink.
Something I forgot to mention, it's the vintage years, or the years.
Oh, for the rosé, it's very important. It's 2019.
Yeah,
it's the
youngest
vintage. the latest vintage.
And for the Sauvignon Blanc, it's also 2019. For the Viognier, it's 18.
Yes.
For the Chardonnay, it's also 19.
So 19,
Very important in fresh young wines to have the latest vintage. Yeah. And
Yeah,
the
yeah,
VVA,
definitely.
the
You
VVA
don't want to you.
can have some age because it will develop more roundness and floral notes.
Mm-mm.
So that was the rosé. I have just a very small amount for myself.
Okay, I will join you, Remmer.
Yeah.
I cannot let you alone drinking
No,
rosé like that.
no. Just we need to enjoy the still great weather in the Netherlands, but I think it will be turning within 2-3 hours to
To a storm.
Yeah, and thunder. But this rosé gives you an instant summer feeling if you're
Exactly. You just need to close your eyes and you are in the Languedoc.
Yeah. Great. So we are halfway, or not halfway. We already finished 4 wines. And now I will check the chat.
How is everybody enjoying the tasting so far?
I think everybody likes the tasting. A lot of people like the wine. Chardonnay was one of the interesting things to see, that people that it's something that people like, and because I think they don't know, or they have a specific opinion about Chardonnay. So it's and for me it's weird as well. I explained the first tasting that normally I talk to people and I can see reactions, I can see faces, I can see when people are busy with the wines and they don't want to be interrupted. And now I have to guess how people are sitting behind the screen, if they are waiting for me to say something or if they're waiting for me to shut up. It's you don't know.
It's a new way of tasting wines.
It definitely is, but I think it's a way that's here to stay.
Yeah, I hope not.
Yeah, I think it will be, and I hope it will be like the combination of for people to go to wine tastings, meet the winemaker, but also to if they want to be at home and intend a small tasting, because we can do the normal wine hall with all of you guys, with all the winemakers, but we also can do tastings in between to keep in touch, to keep updated.
Yeah.
So I think it can be an asset, something extra of the in the wonderful thing of wine tasting. So
yeah. And next time I will send you the new USB key.
Yeah.
With a little tap on it.
Yeah.
And you just connect it to your computer. You open the tap, and you can pour a glass of wine.
Yeah. from your screen, it's like
your screen. Exactly. I will be doing this. Bloop 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 bloop.
You're printing wine. It's
exactly.
You're printing wine. Yeah.
With the new 3D printer.
3D wine printer.
Yeah.
It's something.
But you know, Pizza Hut is going to print your pizza soon.
Yeah, but it's Pizza Hut. It's something. I mean, the pizzas from Pizza Hut already are almost printed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with pizza, I think. So I hope everybody liked the rosé. So we can go on to the reds.
The reds, yeah.
2 single grape varieties, and then the crème de la crème, Chateau Le Toux.
The latest.
The Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail, yeah.
So the first I choose, but in terms of, I choose to start with the Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah, that's
because
good.
It's more spicy and then mellow. But hey, some people think first mellow. I choose to first do the Cabernet.
No, I think it's a good way to start with the Cabernet Sauvignon. As you say, it's much more spicy, and also it's a drier red wine than Merlot, which is rounder. So I prefer to start with the dry red and finish with the fruitier and rounder red.
Yeah,
so
good.
I think it's a good setup. Cabernet Sauvignon.
So Cap Sauvignon, everybody watch out, because pouring a glass from a small bottle can be a pain in the ass, because the bottles are filled really high. So watch out for your maybe white couch or nice fancy pillows.
So Cabernet Sauvignon, it's also another grape varietal that is not from Languedoc. Cabernet Sauvignon, it's widely used in a lot of places in France, such as Bordeaux, such as also some reds from the Loire Valley, from the Chinon area. You have a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon. Typically, the Cabernet Sauvignon will give you a lot of spices, as Remmer said, a lot of red pepper or green pepper aromas. That's really typical from Cabernet Sauvignon. When you taste the wine and you smell that green pepper aroma, you know you're drinking a Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
So it's quite fruity, also spicy, a lot of red berries aroma, red fruit. And also Cabernet Sauvignon has quite a lot of tannins. So you will feel on your palate, it will dry up your tongue, your gums and everything. That's also typical from the Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
And you're tasting Cabernet Sauvignon 2017. So it's a bit older than the white. Yeah. Because for the reds, we always wait at least 1 or 2 years before bottling it, because we need the red to age a little bit in order to express their aromas, to express their full potential.
And how this Cabernet Sauvignon is made in the same way as the whites?
No. We don't do the direct pressing as we used to do for the whites. We don't press the grapes. We put the grapes straight to the vat, and with the weight of the grapes, they will be crushed, and they will you will have the juice coming down from the grapes. And we do a skin maceration for the reds in order to extract the color, the aromas, and the tannin. Because to make a wine, and especially to make a red wine, you need the skin contact, because everything that you taste in your glass right now, it comes from the skin of the grape. The tannins, the color, and all the aromas, they are from the skin.
It has a lot of like green pepper notes.
That's typical from Cabernet Sauvignon. And as I mentioned before, for the whites, for all the range of Deux Ruisseaux, we try not to touch too much the wine, because we want them to give us their typicity.
Yeah.
We don't want to add any oak or anything like that. We want the grape varietal to give all its flavor.
Yeah, and it
So
has
when
also a little bit of licorice, kind of cinnamon kind of licorice. It's and if
that's definitely not from the Cabernet Sauvignon, because
No.
Cabernet Sauvignon doesn't give that type of aromas, but this is from the soil.
Yeah.
The licorice and cinnamon, as you say, that's typical of the soil from the Languedoc area. From the limestone and the clay, they will give those kind of aromas.
Yeah, this wine screams like in my opinion, like pepper steak or stuff like that. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's
Yeah, you need a good steak to go with that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Red meat, obviously, and also cheeses. If you like, there is also two school about what to drink with cheeses. Some people will say you have to drink red wine with cheeses, and other people will say you have to drink white wine with cheeses. It depends really.
yeah.
But yeah, pepper steak most definitely to go with the Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah, you can mix this with a lot of different dishes. You know,
Yeah,
to just put some vegetables on the
exactly.
barbecue, or
I
just
was
classic from ratatouille.
I was going to say ratatouille. I think
Yeah.
it's the and do you know the name of the ratatouille in the Languedoc?
No, no.
It's called Chichou May.
I will use ratatouille.
It's called Chichou May. It's the same recipe of ratatouille. And yeah, it's tomatoes, green and red peppers, onions, courgettes,
Yeah,
aubergines. You cook that, and yeah, I was going to say ratatouille to go with this cabernet.
because
Most definitely.
it has a small of it also has like a little bit of a flavor in the nose of rosemary,
Thyme.
thyme. So the different spices and herbs that you want to go with your ratatouille or with your dish, it's already in the wine.
It's already in the wine, yeah. So why eat a ratatouille when you can drink a Cabernet Sauvignon?
It's like dinner in a bottle of wine. It's like
Yeah, you eat and you drink at the same time.
Yeah. And still, I'm a bit hungry about about the idea of having a nice plate of ratatouille
yeah.
with this wine. Yeah. If people have different flavors or stuff like that, we were happy to know them.
And to explain where those flavors are from. So feel free to ask any question on the chat.
I have somebody in the chat that said it's a little bit it's a little bit strong in the nose, but I think that's mostly maybe the wine is a bit too warm because the alcohol will give like yeah, I think the alcohol will be part of the.
Yeah, mine is also quite warm actually, and it's true that when a wine is a bit warm, you will feel the alcohol and the aromas stronger.
Yeah.
So Cabernet Sauvignon, if you have a place to store the wines in a cool place, it's good to keep it and drink it around 12, 13 degrees.
Yeah.
Quite chilled, especially during summer.
Yeah, it is. This is a wine that you. It's better if it's too cold than too warm. You know, it's you put it in the fridge for like half an hour and it will be much more friendly than if you keep it at room temperature.
And I just want to make a little point with the Cabernet Sauvignon. It will be much better if you drink it around, as I said, 12, 13 degrees. But be careful not to forget it in your fridge and drink it too cold.
Yeah.
Because Cabernet Sauvignon, it's a grape varietal that has quite a lot of tannins, and tannins they don't like cold.
No.
It will feel so dry on your palate. It will be undrinkable. Really, you can chill it, but not too much.
No.
Just a little bit. Just let it chill a little bit, and it will be better.
Yeah. A very nice wine. It and all the wines that we have tasted are like in the price. The price it's €6.95. So you have to taste all the wines in range of the €6.95. And then this wine has, in my opinion, a lot to offer and a lot of character and complexity for
Yes,
€6.95.
for a very interesting price.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. So I hope everybody liked the Cabernet Sauvignon. It's again, like Thibault said, it has the typical flavors of a Cabernet Sauvignon. You can taste Cabernet in different regions, but this is the typical flavor of the Cabernet. We go on to the next red, and it's the Merlot.
The Merlot.
It's number 6 already. 6.
Merlot. So it's again a grape varietal that is not from Languedoc, as you might have guessed. Merlot obviously is well grown into the Bordeaux region. And this Merlot, you can chill it. I actually like it when you chill it a little bit, and it's even better because Merlot will have a lot less tannin than the Cabernet Sauvignon, so it can support a few degrees less than the Cabernet Sauvignon. So Merlot typically, it's very fruity on the nose, lots of red and blackberries. Strawberry, raspberry, cranberry. Also, you will find that just about the same aromas that you had in the La Rosée, because we had 50% of Merlot. So you will find those aromas.
Yeah, and
That smells good.
it also has a little bit of, or a little bit, I think, it has a nice intense flavor of plum. You know,
Yeah, of plum. Yeah, most definitely. And it's quite light on the palate. As you can see, there is almost no tannins, no dry feeling on the palate. It's round. You have a little bit of acidity also, which makes the wine quite refreshing. And as I said before, if you chill it, I think it's a very good compromise if you don't like white or rosé during summer, because I know I have a couple of friends and a couple of clients that don't like to drink rosé or white wine, and I think the Merlot, it's a good compromise. If you don't drink rosé or white, you put it in the fridge 15-20 minutes before you open it, just to chill it a little bit, and it will be really nice, really refreshing, especially during a hot day outside. A nice glass of chilled Merlot like that will be very good. And that's a wine that calls for also some red meat, but also some cheeses, I think.
yeah, yeah, and it's also, I think it's also a wine that's just what you said on the whites. It's a wine that can you can drink it just alone like this. It gives
Yeah,
like
sure. A nice glass of red wine after your day of work or something like that. You just want to chill and to forget about the day. If you're not a Chardonnay or Sauvignon drinker or a rosé drinker, you go for the Merlot.
Yeah.
You will not be disappointed. It's fresh, fruity, it's easy to drink, and as I said, sometimes you don't want to think about what you're drinking.
No.
The last wine, you will be thinking, because it has a lot of complexity, and you will want to think about all the aromas you're tasting and everything. You want to know everything. Merlot, it's a straight up wine.
Yeah.
You pour it, you drink it. You have all the flavors you need. That's it.
Yeah, it's easygoing. It's not, but it's not up in your face. It's not like you think like, that's a lot of wine. It's just it's subtle. it's friendly. It's just a wine just easy. The afternoon, having something to eat, then this is the perfect wine.
Yeah, exactly. You can have some finger food, you know, something easy to eat to match the easiness of the wine.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, yeah. And I think this type of wine will go well with all kinds of like dishes that will combine very good with like confiture, fruit kind of so confiture meat, so sausages, stuff like that. This wine
Yeah.
will really give this extra
But
freshness and fruitiness.
exactly the same kind of use for the la rosé. I think you're outside, you're making barbecue with friends, some grill meat,
Yeah,
some sausages, everything like that will be very good. Yeah.
yeah. And I think even with to combine, if you're having a salad with chicken or poultry or something like that, and you have like with egg, maybe a small amount of bacon, to get this extra, maybe a little bit of apple, to get this extra red fruit into your salad tasting. This will be like a very nice, interesting
Yeah.
wine to choose instead of white wine that a lot of people will choose. This will be a nice combination.
Yeah. And I hope that everybody who's tasting with us tonight has a little something to eat to go with the wine. I don't know. Give us your feedback.
Yeah, I have nothing.
Did you guys are eating anything with the wines?
I have absolutely nothing. Yeah,
Me too.
Poor guys. So I have something, but because we are going to the last wine, and the last wine is from Chateau Latour. And Chateau Latour, I stole some rocks from the winery.
Yeah.
And I have some rocks with me. So
Beautiful.
I've got something to eat. I've got something to eat. So we're going to the last wine, Chateau Latour. And Chateau Latour, in my opinion, is something totally different from the wines you tasted before.
Definitely.
And it's not only in terms of price, but it's also in terms of quality and in terms of terroir. So can you give us a little bit, because I have some of these rocks that are part of the soil of Chateau Latour. So it's the red kind of rock. It's really rocky soil. So can you tell me a little bit about the chateau and what's on the chateau?
I will start with Chateau Le Tout. Chateau Le Tout. Le Tout. It's an Occitan name. Occitan is like a kind of a dead language from south of France. It's a mix of Spanish and French, and Le Tout means in Occitan water tower. And Chateau Le Tout, there is a chateau. It's not really a chateau, but it's kind of a big building that was built by the Romans. And in the middle of the chateau, you have a big water tower that the Romans used to store water in order to develop the city of Sauvian. And it's thanks to the Roman and this chateau that the city of Sauvian exists. And thanks to this water tower, they managed to store the water that they would bring from the aqueduct. And they use this water to develop the city. And today, as I am speaking to you, this famous castle I'm talking about is still here. Every brick, every stone is right there. And the water tower can be still used. It's still fully functional. Just to tell you how great the Romans were when they started to build stuff, you know. They tried to build an empire, it didn't work, but but at least
they tried.
But the building they last forever. So that's for the name and the historical part, sorry, of the area of Sauvignon. So going back to what is more interesting right now is the wine and the soil. It's a very harsh terroir, very harsh soil. It's only rocks, a lot of rocks, just as Remmer showed you. And it's not the same, but it's close to the soil and terroir of Châteauneuf-du-Pape. You know, those big rocks that they have. They got most of the rocks, but we got some of them because if you want to go back like 1 million years ago, you had a huge icicle that melted down, and it brought down all the rocks up to Châteauneuf-du-Pape and down to the Languedoc, but we only got the leftovers. You know, Châteauneuf-du-Pape got all the best rocks, but we got some. And what's very interesting with those rocks is that during the day they absorb the heat from the sunlight, and during the night they give it back to the grapes, and so the grapes are constantly growing. During day they're growing, during night they're growing. So yes, that's the kind of soil that you have for the vineyard of Château Le Tout. Château Le Tout that you are drinking right now is a blend of Syrah and Grenache. It's 60% of Syrah and 40% of Grenache. And we do a traditional harvest during night in order to preserve the grapes from oxidation and from sunlight. So we do it at night. We do traditional fermentation process with a skin maceration during 3 weeks up to 4 weeks, depending on the year, on the harvest. After the alcoholic fermentation, we're going to do malolactic fermentation, as Remmer explained to you before. We do this in order to keep the wine from any alteration, because those malolactic things, they can be very bad things for the red wines. So we have to do that. And also in order to reduce a little bit of acidity and to give the wine more roundness to it. And after all those different fermentations are over, we actually, I forgot to mention that, but we actually vinify the Syrah separately from the Grenache.
Yeah, of course.
And we taste the Syrah and the Grenache separately to do the blending later on. Yeah. Usually we do 60% of Syrah and 40% of Grenache, but depending on the harvest, on the quality of the wine, we can change that. And when we have done the blending, when we have blended the Syrah and the Grenache together, we are going to age it for 12 months in oak barrel. And we use old oak barrel because we don't want to add too much oakiness into our wines. So that's the reason why we use old oak barrel, in order to give a little bit of oakiness, but not too much, And also the aging in oak, it's very important for red wines if you want to keep them for a long time. You're tasting tonight the Chateau Le Tout 2015. So this wine is already 5 years old, but it's a wine that you can keep for at least 10 more years.
Yeah.
If you have the good storage, you can keep it for, yes, at least 15 years, no problem.
Yeah, because it's very soft, but it's also very strong. It has the fruit punch in your
Yes.
face, so it has the power to develop much longer.
Now you can smell the Syrah and Grenache. Syrah will bring the spiciness, a bit of also all the herbs that you find in the south of France, the thyme, the rosemary, things like that. You will smell that. The Grenache will bring a lot of red fruit.
And I
You
think
have also a little bit of leather, you know,
yeah.
a little touch of leather from Syrah. This is
Yeah.
typical from Syrah, the leather, and
It has such a wide range of different flavors, and it's, I think, especially this because of due to the age of the vines and
Yes.
in the soil. You know, if you are in the place and you have the rockiness, it's almost like you have a little bit of taste of the rockiness. It's again a little bit of the cinnamon, licorice.
Definitely licorice. Also, Syrah can give some licorice aromas, and you have the oakiness, but it's a very discreet oakiness. You will feel the oak at the end on the back of the mouth, on the back of the palate. It's I think it's quite well balanced. You have a nice acidity with all the fruitness and the freshness that comes first, and then you have the roundness and the complexity that arrives at the end on the back of the palate. So that's what I meant when I said earlier, that's the kind of wine you will pour and you will taste and you will think about it. You will think at what are those all those aromas, you know, where do they come from? And also you have such it lasts quite long on the palate. After you have drunk it, it stays in your mouth.
Yeah, it has the tannins are really still strong and lively, so they will
Yeah, but
present but friendly. You know,
it's not the same tannins as the Cabernet Sauvignon, which were very present and very strong and dry. Those tannins, they are very soft, very round, and that's thanks to the oak aging, because the oak will always soften the tannins of the Syrah and the Grenache to make it so easy to drink right now.
I think the oak aging in this wine you can find in a little bit of smokiness. It's a little bit of smokiness and has a little bit of maturation. So it's more mature. It's stronger. So I think that's the barrel from the
Yes, because
that's the most important in terms of flavors.
when a winemaker orders a barrel, he will choose the time of chauffe. Chauffe means how much they're going to burn the inside of the oak barrel. And often when you drink a wine that's been aged in oak, you will have this smokiness that comes from the chauffe.
of the barrel.
Yeah. And here it's giving something extra instead of it's adding the taste of the grapes instead of like
it's
overpowering
adding,
the
yeah,
grapes.
it's adding another layer
Yeah.
in the wine. You
The
have
wine.
you have the acidity, you have the fruitness, you have the tannins, and then you have the oakiness.
Yeah.
And you know, it comes all together in your mouth, and I can drink that with a nice Tourneau Rossini. You know what I mean. It's a very elegant wine, I think. So you need to have also something elegant in your plate.
Yeah.
So most definitely a nice red meat. So I put the bar quite high when I said Tourneau Rossini, but you know, you can just have a nice entrecôte or
Yeah. Yeah.
some ribs or yeah,
Like
and cheeses would do very well with this. And I'm a dessert guy. I like sweet stuff, and this wine, Le Grand Vin Château Le Tout 2015 with chocolate fondant, something like this.
yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
it's amazing.
It's wonderful. It's
wonderful. No,
You
but
can never imagine because, and I think it's because the tannins are there, but they will not overrule your
no,
chocolate fondant or mousse or stuff like that. So it's
exactly, yeah. And chocolate has tannins also.
yeah, yeah,
So that's why red wine and chocolate go so well together, because the tannins, they match each other. So if you want to have a if you cook a dessert, a chocolate dessert, you should definitely have a glass of Château Le Tout Grand Vin 2015 to go with that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really it's an amazing wine for cellaring, to keep it up in the cellar for a few years, but
Yeah.
also already right now it's like it's a beautiful bottle, it's a beautiful story, it's a really well made wine. It's manual harvest, I think. So
Yeah.
this is a wine from the Languedoc, but it's a classical. It's not from the wine machine Languedoc, but it's
No, yeah.
classical. It's AOP. It has much character. It's really a terroir wine instead of the other wines, which more grape variety.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, as you said, the all the wines from Domaine des Deux Ruisseaux, they are part of the Languedoc machinery, you know.
Yeah.
But we're trying to do our part, making fine wine also,
Yeah.
because Languedoc is not just about producing lots of grapes and lots of hectoliters and lots of wine. We can also make great wine.
Yeah, I think the Languedoc is the last time I was in Languedoc. I think the Languedoc is one of the most exciting wine regions at the moment in terms of price quality, because
Yes.
I met at a small wine fair in the Languedoc. I met a Portuguese winemaker who was working for different wineries in the Languedoc. And in terms of grape variety, in terms of winemaking, vinification, it's
Yeah.
such an interesting wine region which can produce wonderful wines.
Yeah, Languedoc is the biggest vineyard of the world
Yeah.
in terms of in terms of
Volume, I think.
space of volume. It's the biggest vineyard, and also it's where you can have the most freedom for a winemaker, because you can take some liberty and plant any kind of grape varietal you want to produce the wine you want. We have some Gewürztraminer growing in the Languedoc.
Yeah.
Gewürztraminer, it's a great varietal, typically grown in the Alsace region.
Yeah.
And all the previous wines from Domaine des Deux Ruisseaux, all the grapes, they are not from Languedoc.
No. No.
They're not from Languedoc. They're from completely different region, and that's why Languedoc is so interesting today, because you can find so many different things to match your taste.
Yeah. And the grape varieties, but also terroir. I mean, if you go a little bit more to the east, to Pesenas or stuff like that, you have total different wine, total different expression of the wine.
Because the Languedoc is such a big territory that you have actually a palette of soils that are completely different. You go to the north of Languedoc, the south of Languedoc, the east or the west, the soils are completely different, and also you have some microclimates. So you can plant a lot of different grapes and to produce amazing wine from the region.
It's you know, still there's a lot of wine from the Languedoc that are single-minded, you know, mellow, Sauvignon Blanc.
Of course.
If you really want to find something interesting in terms of price quality, just
call Remmer.
Go to me, and I will have to. No, but it is, and this is the Rousseau and Chateau Latour are an expression of the difference
of both sides of Languedoc. I think.
Yeah, but still, the De Rousseau, in terms of Chardonnay, Merlot, single variety wines, it gives just something extra, adding to the wine in terms of terroir and region, and then just a normal Chardonnay. So the last wine is, in my opinion, a wine that you could drink like all year long. It gives expression, it gives terroir, it gives feeling of the wine, and it's so incredibly soft. So it gives me the feeling of going to the Languedoc. Like
exactly. It's a ticket to Languedoc.
Yeah.
And with the corona and everything, when people cannot travel or anything like that, you just go to Soda shop and you buy a bottle of Chateau Latour Grand Vin, and you will travel to Languedoc.
You will be
if you are a good taster, you might even hear me in the bottle talking to you.
In the depths of the bottle, you will hear Thibault. It's hello.
Hey.
Just a small, as we started, maybe some people forgot, but as we started, you mentioned like Chateau Latour will get a biological certificate in the future. There's a question in the chat about like which way you think Familie Valerie will go in the future in terms of winemaking. Will they continue this range of wines in terms of De Rousseau, single variety, and Chateau Latour, more terroir wines, and now in the future will be biological, or will there be differences in the future?
No, we're going to keep it the same way. Domaine des Deux Ruisseaux will keep producing single varietal wines and easygoing wines like you tasted tonight.
Yeah.
And on the other side, you will have Chateau Latour that will try to make more confident wine with a lot of ambition. Always with Syrah and Grenache blend, trying to aim for the best quality of the wines. And the organic farming that is taking place right now at the estate, it's because we started thinking that we need to do more for the environment. It's not just for us to take, you know, the vine growing and everything is not just here for us to make grapes and to make wine and to enjoy. We started to think and to say that this piece of land produce our wine, so we need to take care of it. And so we started to engage in organic farming because it's important for the land, but it's also important for the people involved in making the wine, in going to the vineyard, because we used to use quite a lot of chemical product insurance to maximize the yield of the vineyard. But we want to take a better approach, and that's why we started last year to grow organic farming. So what we do now is we have a limited use of some insurance, and we can only use also organic nutriments and organic fertilizer and organic organic product to protect the vineyard from bugs, from disease or stuff like that. And also you don't, in organic farming, you don't put as much as those products as you would in a traditional farming. So it's only when the vineyard needs it, we give it to him, instead of preventing the disease by pouring tons of chemical stuff in the vineyard. So it's good for the earth, it's good for the people working, and it's good for the people drinking also, because you can have some residual product into the wine. And we don't want that. We want, as I said, we want to take care of the earth. We want to take care of our people working for us, and obviously we want to take care of you and to give you a product that it's good to taste, but it's also good for your health. I think that's very important.
To make a fair product. It's very
exactly
important. So we've tasted 6 wines from Deux Ruisseaux, and we tasted 1 wine from Château Latour. For the people watching right now, we also have like a Château Latour, the Collection Rouge. It's a wine between the Grand Vin and the Deux Ruisseaux price range, and we have like Syracuse, and Syracuse is the
lekkers.
It's a top level wine that you're making. It's also, you can also order it at the wine shop. That's a wine. In my opinion, it's an insane good wine. It's the wine last year. We had a lot of winemakers here in Woerden at the WijnHALL. And we were sitting at the table drinking wines, and there was a winemaker from the Alsace, a Dutch guy from the Alsace making wine, and some others. And we asked like, what's the best wine you've tasted? and not all, but many said like, yeah, the Syracuse.
The Syracuse, yeah.
One of my,
So to if you may, Remmer, I just would like to speak a little bit about the Syracuse. Syracuse, it's another play with the words Syrah, the grape varietal Syrah, and the city of Syracuse in Sardinia, because this cuvée, it's a tribute to the winemakers' great grandparents, because they originated from the city of Syracuse and they settled down in Sauvignon almost a century ago.
yeah.
And Syracuse, as its name implies, it's made with 100% of Syrah. It comes from a very old vineyard. It's about 50 to 60 years old vineyard, so it doesn't produce a lot of grape, but it will produce very concentrated grapes with a lot of tannins, with a lot of flavors. And we do traditional winemaking and harvests also. And we do 18 months of aging in new oak barrel. The reason why we use new oak barrel is because the grapes have so much tannin. They need new oak in order to soften those tannin and to have something very soft, very smooth on the palate. Unfortunately, this wine is not on the menu tonight, but feel free to ask Remmer for a taste or for just a bottle to bring home.
Yeah, yeah, it's a wonderful wine, and we'll keep the other wines as well. The Or Blanc, Or Rosé will come maybe in the future again. So if there are any questions for us right now, please feel free to ask them. There is like on the WijnHALL, there's a discount code you can use. It's a 10% discount on all the wines from Deux Ruisseaux and Chateau Le Tout on the web shop. So you can use the codes to order the wines today. And if there are any more questions, just feel free to ask them, and so we can. I have some people that are thanking us for the tasting now. Thank you. You're more than welcome.
Thanks to you to have been with us tonight.
Yeah.
To have supported us for 2 hours, to have listened to us for 2 hours.
Yeah. We managed to keep it pretty normal without Game of Thrones stuff, and I think we did. I think we did a good job. So Pedro checked in as well on the chat to say.
Oh, Pedro!
So maybe we can do a Zoom chat, just the three of us, and we can make like a battle between France, Portugal, or stuff like that, or just talk about wine and what we like.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
I think that's something for in the future, or maybe just in the middle of the summer have a pretty insane wine tasting with the best of Chateau Le Tout and the best of both Quintas, and just try to get the love of wine to the people. I am just pouring a small amount of Grand Vin, just
a touch.
Just a small touch of Grand Vin.
You would not waste that, Remmer.
No, definitely not. I will not spit this. This will go down the throat. This is just too good. If there are no more questions, I would like to thank everybody for joining us, for attending this wine tasting. We have another wine tasting at the 10th of July, Friday the 10th of July, with Saul from Herdade Templarios.
Very good wines. You should all attend.
Yeah, it's something totally different. And if people have any suggestions, for us, for me, but also for Thibault to try to get a new wine tasting or anything else. We will be happy to help you with all kind of information and wine.
Sure.
So for now, Thibault, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Remmer. As I say when I started the tasting, thank you for this very creative way of tasting wine. It's no, I don't know how people felt about the tasting tonight. I hope all of you who connected tonight enjoyed the tasting, enjoyed the wine, and enjoyed being in front of the computer and doing this live like this. It was my first internet tasting like this.
Ah, really?
So Remmer, you just popped my cherry. So
Good, good.
thank you
It's
for
always nice to have that kind of information.
yeah.
So
No, but I think he was quite interesting from my point of view to do it like this. It was quite fun, and I hope that everybody watching tonight enjoyed every minute of it, because it's been almost 2 hours that Remmer and I are talking. So I hope you enjoyed, and you enjoyed the wine especially, and that you will be back for the next live tasting with Sao from Portugal. He has a lot of good wines to taste also, so you should not miss that too. And I can only wish you good night to you all. And finish all the small bottle. Huh? I cannot see you, bottles. But be careful. I hope you finish everything.
Yeah.
So again, have a good night. I really hope you enjoy the tasting, and I hope to see you in real life next year for WijnHALL. Maybe you're going to do the November edition.
I hope we can do a November edition of the WijnHALL to have like really celebrating life, have a physical edition of the WijnHALL, having everybody here, music, stuff like that. So I hope we can proceed with the WijnHALL in November. For the people at home, you can this recording will be on YouTube, so you can watch this again if you want, and you can also give this information to family, friends, if they want to learn more about these wines and this winery. So again, Thibault, thank you very much.
Thank you, Remmer.